Hi, and welcome to Kenshi. So today, I'm going to be training a Bonedog to kill one of the hardest enemies in the game, Bugmaster. And just to show, I'm not using any mods, and my gameplay settings are all at their defaults. So getting right into it, I'm going to be using the guy with the dog start, and again, all options on default. So begin. So for this start, we begin in Bast, which is a destroyed city in the middle of nowhere. There's no guards, no shops, and since we're currently starving, our first order of business is to head northeast to around this part of the map, and there we will be able to buy some food at the bar. And we do need to watch out for cannibals and hostile animals, as at this point in the game, they will definitely outrun us and kill us. So now as we're approaching, we can see Drin appears on our map. So I'm just gonna reset the waypoint to that location. And as we get closer, I'm hoping that we'll start to see some damage numbers here. And we can see that there's a skirmish going on between Holy Nation and United Cities. So I'm gonna make my human go up ahead a bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put sneak mode on, so I can start training my stealth. And I'm just going to go around all these dead Holy Nation soldiers and start stealing their weapons. Now that I've collected all those weapons, I'm going to sell them at this bar and trade them for food. The barman's currently in a fight right now, so now that he's done with that, I can sell everything I picked up and buy some food. I think I'm gonna go with dried meat just because it's the cheapest thing here. And one thing to note is that a Bonedog can't eat directly from your inventory, so I have to drop this meat on the ground. And I'm just going to leave John here while I continue looting the Holy Nation soldiers. I've looted most of what there was to pick up, and I've stocked up on some food. So next, we're going to be heading southwest to this region of the map, and then we're going to pass south into this green area of the map. We've reached our destination of Blister Hill, so I'm just gonna park John in this bar with a bit of food, and I'm just gonna run around with sneak on to train stealth while I wait for the shops to open in the morning. So now that the sun has come up, I'm gonna go into this boot shop, and what I'm looking for are a pair of sandals to help us run a bit faster. You can buy here, and then whatever is the most expensive backpack I can afford. So I think it's this large backpack. So I'm gonna put that on. And for now, I do need to wait for night to fall again. So I'm just gonna keep training stealth until around the evening. I was able to train my stealth up to 18, which should be more than enough for what I'm planning to do. And so now that it's around 7 in the evening, I'm gonna head to this flat portion of the map. Right now, we're at Narco's Trap, and it is raining acid, so you can see the health of my body parts is slowly going down. But we shouldn't be here long enough for it to really matter. So what I'm gonna do is wait for this sun symbol on the right of my character's name to be black, and when that happens, I'm going to try to sneak in this compound. Now it is fully dark. I've taken off my backpack as it does have a stealth penalty. And right now I'm going to go up to this gate and try to unlock it. And hopefully with my current stealth level, I should be able to sneak by these paladins, given that it is complete dark. So I did get caught by the paladins. It's not so big a deal because I can outrun them and just wait until they de-aggro, then I can come back. Now that I've broken inside, there's a second gate that I have to unlock before I can get inside this tower. But now that we've gotten out of the area with the paladins, it's pretty safe up here. Now we're inside Narco's tower, and this place is guarded by robotic spiders, which will probably one-shot us at this point. There don't appear to be any on the first floor, so I'm just gonna go ahead and loot everything that is worth decent money. This is all the loot that I was able to get from the tower. I only kept the things that were 1 kilogram or less, as even with this amount of loot, we are being weighed down, which is reducing our run speed and our stealth. I also made sure to keep 1 skeleton repair kit and 1 advanced first aid kit, as we will need those later. Because of the extra weight we're carrying, getting out is going to be a bit more difficult than getting in. So what I'm going to do is, well, first I'm going to command John to walk a bit closer so that we can escape together. And for Kihaku, I'm going to take off my backpack so I can sneak better. And I'm going to run as far outside of the tower as I can, trying to stay a bit far away from the spiders so that they don't immediately notice us. But I do actually want to aggro both of them. And I'm going to put my backpack on so I can run a bit faster. I want to aggro both of these spiders so that I can use them as a distraction to get past the gate guards. So what I'm going to do is just move a small distance away and wait for the spiders to catch up, as if I move too far at once, they might de-aggro. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get to the gate. So after a save and a load, I'm going to remove my backpack and turn on sneak, and I'm trying to get this spider close enough for the paladins to aggro without the paladins actually noticing me. And once most of them start moving in, I'm just going to throw my backpack on and run as far away as I can. And hopefully none of the paladins are actually looking at me. So now what I'm going to do is just stash my backpack somewhere nearby. I'm just going to choose in between these 2 rocks so that I can remember. And as we look back here, we can see that the spider that we lured out has been knocked out. He's gotten back up, but he shortly will be getting knocked out again. So what I'm going to do is wait for the paladins to sort of disperse. And once they have, I'm going to try to sneak in as close as I can, pick up the body, and drag it around this corner if possible. Okay, I do have to drop it as I can't outrun the paladin while I'm carrying it. But now, all I have to do is walk out of his aggro range, and I can probably come back and collect the body. If not, I'll just repeat the cycle a couple more times until the body is far enough to be recovered safely. So we can see now that the paladin has given up on chasing me and is now walking back. So I'm just gonna keep a bit of distance and go back to retrieve the spider. So now that I have retrieved the body safely, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to repair it so that it doesn't bleed out. Keep in mind that if you try to fully repair the spider, it will wake up and start attacking you. So I'm just going to keep this at -1 if possible. And hopefully that should be enough that it won't bleed out while we're walking around. So now that we have the spider, the loot from the tower, and our Bonedog, we can leave and start heading south to around this area of the map, where we will begin the training of our Bonedog. Now we've reached this way station down in the border zone. So if we go into this robotics workshop at the end of the town, we can place the iron spider in this skeleton repair bed. And you do need a bit of money, so you can just sell some of the loot that you took from the tower. And we can see that the health of each of its limbs are increasing extremely fast. So what we'll actually be doing is using this security spider as a punching bag for John to train his stats. And now that it has gone from unconscious to normal, what I'm going to do is pick it up, bring it outside, and I'm going to put it down on the ground and wait for it to wake up. And when it's almost about to wake up, I'm going to right-click and hold my mouse over pickup and wait for the wake up animation to happen. And when it starts to walk away, I'm going to pick it up and put it back in the bed. And what you can see here is now, by right-clicking on it, I can actually start to attack it with John. And this will train John's dexterity, martial arts, and melee attack. So he's just going to keep on attacking it until its oil goes to 0, at which point the security spider will get knocked out and John will not be able to train on it anymore. But if you just AFK for a while, its oil will regenerate and John will be able to keep on attacking. So basically at this point, all you need to do is keep your dog fed, and you can just AFK while it continues training. So if we just go over to this bar, I'm just going to buy everything that John can eat. And I'm just going to drop all this on the ground. And at this point, we can just AFK while John continues fighting this security spider and waits for its limbs to regenerate. I've been AFK for about an hour, aside from me periodically forcing John to stop attacking as I realized he wasn't eating while he was aggroed on the spider. And at this point, I noticed that the spider was getting KO'd in only a couple of hits because of how much damage John is doing. And so I decided to end the AFK session here because the experience has really slowed down. And although it looks like he hasn't gained much in terms of stats, that's actually because of the 0.29 stat multiplier that he gets because he is still a puppy. So if we look at the FCS, which is Kenshi's built-in modding tool, we can see his true stats. These are his stats from before the training. So you can see that his dexterity and attack are in the 30s, while his unarmed is in the 20s. And then after about 20 minutes of training, we can see that his stats are now in the low 60s. After 40 minutes, his stats are now in the low 70s range. And then now, after a full hour of AFKing, his stats are in the mid 70s. At his current stats, he will probably be 1 or 2 shotting most unarmored enemies' body parts with the damage that he can currently do. So now that we've finished training his dexterity, melee attack, and martial arts, the only thing that's left is to train his toughness. And to do that, we are going to be heading to the Fog Islands. So I'm currently being chased by a couple of fogmen, and I'm carrying John because it is slightly faster than having the two of these guys run alongside each other. But even with that, Kihaku is not quite able to outrun the fogmen because she is running at 15 miles per hour while these guys are running at 18. However, what I'm currently doing is running away, and then as the fogmen get close, I click on them to bait them into attacking, which gives me a small amount of time to create some distance. And with this method, even though the fogmen are faster than me, they never actually catch up enough to deal damage to me. And you can see on the map, Mongrel, our destination, is quite close. So even though this is a bit of a painful process, I will be able to get there safely. We finally reached Mongrel, and the fogmen that were chasing us have been fought off by the guards. And so now we can begin the next part of our strategy, which is to train John's toughness. To do that, we ventured back into the fog to find these little arrangements of torches and poles. So what we're going to do is look for a pole that has a low lock complexity, as we can see in the bottom left here. So this one is level 13, which is low enough. And what we're going to do is right click while having John in our arms, and that's actually going to put him on the pole. So we're going to pick the lock, and we are going to go wait over here in a corner somewhere, out of sight. And what's going to start happening is that one of these fog princes will come out of the valley and start eating John alive. And despite being very gruesome, as we can see from the experience we're gaining, it is a very good way of training toughness. The fog prince will start by eating the bottommost body part and work their way up until it gets to the stomach. And once the stomach reaches significant negative numbers, John will die. But that gives us a lot of time to come in and save him. Once the prince starts eating John's stomach, all I have to do is come in with Kihaku and pick John up. And from here, I just have to run back to Mongrel. Once I'm back at Mongrel, the guards will just take care of the horde for me, and I can go rest and recuperate in the town's bar. So now I'm just gonna heal up John's wounds in a bed and repeat the process until his toughness is in the high 80s to low 90s. After 8 cycles of training, John's toughness is now at 91, and his stats are now ready to fight the Bugmaster. Unfortunately, he still has a 0.55 multiplier to all of his stats due to not being fully grown, and he won't reach his maximum multiplier until around day 44. So I could spend all that time doing additional training to maximize his stats, but at this point he will be strong enough, so I'm just going to AFK for what will be around 3 real-time hours, even at max speed. After around 2 hours and 40 minutes, we are now at day 45, and John's stat multiplier is at 1.1. So right now, he has 100 toughness, 90 dexterity, 83 melee attack, and 81 martial arts. So all that's left is to head down to the Spider Plains to fight the Bugmaster. On the way down, I made sure to stop by the AdMag travel store to pick up a couple of sleeping bags in case we need to heal up after any skirmishes along the way. We have reached the throne of the Bugmaster, and before fighting the Bugmaster himself, we have to clear out the first floor of the horde of spiders that is guarding it. So I'm just going to have Kihaku stand in a corner somewhere with sneak on, and I'm going to have John run up here and try to aggro a couple spiders, not all at the same time. And what we'll see is that he's able to one-shot the spiders, given that he hits one of their vital body parts. But what we'll also see is that even at 100 toughness, he still takes a fairly significant amount of damage due to his lack of armor. And this, combined with his inability to block or dodge attacks, means that even against relatively weak enemies, the damage will still stack up and take him down if he gets swarmed. Because of that, I'm going to try not to aggro all of the spiders at once, and instead lure them out one by one and take them on a few at a time. Now that John has cleared out the first floor of the tower, we are safe to now set up a couple of camp beds, and we will heal up. With John now fully healed, the only thing left is to take on the Bugmaster himself. And quite anticlimactically, he's able to take him down in just a few hits. The fight against Bugmaster ended up being a little underwhelming, so I decided to take John on a few test runs against other endgame enemies, starting with Holy Lord Phoenix. So as we see, he does a lot less damage against Phoenix's armored body parts, but thanks to his high dexterity, he's still able to do decent damage just through sheer number of attacks, to the point where he actually forces Holy Lord Phoenix to start running away. And eventually, Phoenix does go down to blood loss thanks to having his right arm removed by John. Against Mad Cat Lon, we see much of the same thing, with John not being able to do a ton of damage at first thanks to Cat Lon's armor and melee defense. However, once John finally lands a hit, he's able to stun lock Cat Lon and quickly take him down thanks to some lucky hits to the head. Anyways, with the Bugmaster now dead, the story of Kihaku and John comes to a close. Thanks for watching.